Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name's Teresa and I'm the car boot crafter, and I'm coming on to share with you this my dad's Father's Day present. We've got him a little box of Ferrero Rocher, and I thought that was a bit boring. So what I've done is I've made a mug, and then I've filled it with Ferrero Rocher inside, and then put some round the front of the mug as well. And I thought, if I lift that up, hopefully you can see the mug inside. And I thought it would be really fun to come on, so I'm making one for my husband as well, to come on and show you how I've done it. Perhaps you can see it a little bit better there. There's the handle and there's the mug. And I'm really pleased in how it worked out. I mean, I've done the mug several times in the past, but I've never kind of dressed it up like this. So I thought, come on and show you how to make the mug. I'm not going to go with all of the fancy bits, unless someone wants to. If someone wants me to show you how I've wrapped it and everything, let me know and I'll do a video on that. Anyway, let's get on with it. I'm doing it as a craft along with me, a video as well. So I'll pop that out the way and show you what you need. And it's really, really simple. You just need a piece of card that measures 7 3/4 by 9 1/2, a scrap piece of card that's this is about 3 1/2 by whatever length that is, and you just need a scrap for whatever circle dies you've got, because that's how we're making the handle with circle dies. So you will need a set of circle dies, or some circle dies, whatever you've got to hand really. I have done it in the past using oval, and if you haven't got circle dies, then you can just cut out a circle or a square hand cut and then do it yourself. Again, if anyone wants me to show you how to do it without the fancy bits and pieces and dies and what have you, then let me know and I'll do that. You'll also need some paper, some patterned paper, and this comes from the Mr. Smith's workshop. It's a pack, a huge pack, and I've had it for absolutely ages, so it's good to use that up. You'll also need an envelope punch board, and again, if you haven't got one, let me know and I'll show you how I've done it. And a scoreboard. Right, so let me show you how I make my mugs, my paper mugs. So let me grab my scoreboard and I'm going to pop it in there. And you're simply going to score. So this is the 9 1/2 length. You're going to score every 1 1/2 inches. So there's 1 1/2, then 3, 4 1/2, then 6, 7 1/2, and then 9. And that then gives you 1/2 inch for later on when we'll be putting it all together. That's going to be our tag end. I'm just going to flip it over and do it exactly the same on the other side. So 1 1/2, 3, 4 1/2, 6, 7 1/2, and 9. Then turn it on its short edge, and it doesn't really matter which short edge you use, and you're going to score at 2 1/4, and again at 6. Okay, and I'm going to flip those over and do it on the other side as well. 2 1/4 and 6. Okay, that's all our scoring done. I'll pop that out of the way, and then I'm just going to reinforce those score lines. So just fold them over and run your bone folder along them like that. And then using your scissors, we're going to make our tag, which is where we glue our mug together. So what we want to do is, this is the 1/2 inch, so there's our 1/2 inch fold there, and we're going to remove both of these here to that score mark. We're going to keep this bit in the middle, but we're going to angle it in on both sides slightly. So I always go to this side of the score line because I want to remove that score line so it doesn't hinder my folds later on. So I'm going up to that first score line there, then I'm going to come in at a little angle like that, and then exactly the same on this side, except I do the angle first, just the way that I do it, whatever works for you. So come all the way down and remove that from there, and we can get rid of those, we don't need those. And this now is going to be the bit that we glue to form our mug. Forgot for a minute there what I was making. Right, so this bit now is where you need your punch board, which I've put somewhere and can't find. Right, there it is. So in your punch board you've got that little bit, and what you want to do is fold your paper on the first score line. So if you remember, we scored every 1.5 inches, so fold on that score line, and you want to be working at this end. So this is the, so if you remember, we scored at 2 1/4. So this is not where you want to be working. You want to be working, this was the 6 inch one that we did, so it's the smaller ones. So these are much smaller squares. If I grab my pen, so this square is much longer there, and this square is quite short. You can see that this one is much smaller, and this is the end we want to be working on. So fold over your first score line, and we want to pop this in. So if I, oh gosh, how can I do this without, because this is going to be for hubby. If I fold it the wrong way, so this is the outside way. So there's my score line there. So that will be on the inside. We won't see that. There's my score line there. As you can see, it goes all the way up there. We want to work on that. So I'm going to pop it in my scoreboard. If I turn it this way, hopefully you can see. And what I want to do is line up that score line with the middle of there. So in there, round about the middle, and I'm going to by-eye it. So pop that in. It is doubled over. Turning it to me so that I can see. Oh, good job I turned, because that was right off the middle. So if I hold that, you can see that that's right in the middle. That score line is right in the middle of there. And then all I want to do is push down like that. And that punches out that shape. You may have seen Christmas crackers done exactly the same. And I'm going to fold it again. And I'll draw that score line in for you. Pop that down there, and I'm standing over it so I can see. Pop that in, and again punch down, and keep going like that all the way to the end. Pop that in the middle, and I'm hoping that's the middle, and push down. Again, this is a really easy method. If you haven't got a punch board, let me know and I'll see if I can do a video with the non-tools method. Let's pop that in and punch down. Okay, I'm just going to move that out of the way. So you've done all of those in the middle, and we still need to do these two at the end. So this one is really simple. Again, there's my score line. Pop that in. again, I'm just going to stand up so I can just double check and punch that down, so you've got that. This one, and I'm going to turn it round to do this one, just fold that up in the same way that you folded all the others. Just fold that up, and again, there's the score line, and pop that so that it's in the middle, and punch. And you will end up with that sort of shape, and that's okay because we can still use that to glue everything away. Okay, and that's the end of that using your scoreboard. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I'm going to bring in some glue, and I'm going to work on this top part here now. And all I want to do with that is glue that down to there, because this is going to offer some stability to my mug, some stability and strength. So if you didn't want to do this, then you do exactly the same as I've done, only without that extra bit. So your piece of card would be 9.5 inches wide by 5.5 inches there, and then you just put it in your scoreboard, score that way in exactly the same, every 1.5 inches, and then when you turn it, you're just going to score at, so that was the 1.25. Let me just double check this for you. You're going to score at 1.75, like that. Let's fold that over and push that glue into the cards. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of a fold so that we've got those score lines on the same in the same space. So there we go. Always the end ones that's a little bit off, but just fold that over, give it a crease, and that should work out fine. I always pop mine over like that, so the weight of the card holds everything down, while I then bring in my bit of scrap paper, scrap card should I say. Okay, let's bring in my die cutting machine. And what we want to do now is cut 2 circles. Well, you're cutting 1 circle and then you're cutting a circle out of the middle bit. So what I've got is, this is a 3-inch circle in the middle, and then the sorry, on the outside is 3 inches, and the middle one is 2 inches. So you can go slightly smaller. You can go bigger if you want to on the inside one. So I've done that one on the inside, and that one is 2.5, and that gives you a handle that's quite a narrow handle like that. I wasn't so keen on that, so I've gone with the thicker one. So let me pop that back there out of the way and bring in my bit of scrap card and just layer it up on my die cutting machine. So pop that on. As you can see, my oh, there's a bit of card still on there. My die cutting plates are very well worn, but there's still plenty of life in them. I know people have chucked them away well before now, but mine still works. So I'm just going to pop that on that piece of scrap card, which is exactly the same colour as this one. It's from the same pack, but it was a bit of scrap. So let's pop that in and cut that out. And I always go backwards and forwards. You know your die cutting machine, whether you need to go more or less on that. So let's take that out, and we can pop our die cutting machine to one side. I do like to trap my plates in there so I know they're all together. and then bring in your scoreboard. I'm only bringing my mini one in because it's easier for the camera. You don't have to have a mini one. So as I get said, this one's 3, this one's 2. I need both pieces that has been cut out, so I need that circle bit. And if you've gone for a thinner, narrower handle, then you might want to punch out a circle, because you'll get a much larger circle. So you might want to punch one out that's a little bit smaller. Right, I can get rid of that, and I'll pop that to one side because I'll need it later. Regardless of what size circle you've done, you're going to pop it on your scoreboard. Now, I know that my largest die was 3 inches. So my circle comes to, there's my 3-inch mark. Let's use the right one. There's my 3-inch mark. So as you can see, just kisses where the score is at 3 inch. So I know halfway on my die is 1.5 inches, but I don't want to cut it in half. What I do want to do is to give me a little bit so that it will glue onto my mug. So what I'm going to do is, there's the 1.5 inch mark. I'm going to go either side of that. Now this one goes every 1/8 of an inch. So that will be, let me just check for you. That will be 1, 2, 3/8 of an inch and 5/8 of an inch. So that's where I'm scoring. So 3/8 of an inch all the way down, and 5/8 of an inch all the way down like that. And I'm just going to reinforce that again like that. So we've got a very simple score on there. Pop that out of the way as well. And what that does is, when I fold on that, so I'll fold on that one, and then I'll fold on the other one. And if I line up these 2 pieces like that, that gives me a little surface there to glue onto my mug. Okay, before I glue it onto my mug, I've got a few more things to do, but what I want to do now is I'm just going to put a little bit of glue, just a tiny little scrap, and I'm not going all the way around either, just doing there, and I'm lining it up because I want those to match. So that is going to hold there, and hopefully put a little bit of, and that will stick there. So just making sure that that is all lined up, and that peg then will hold it while it dries. Got my other circle there. Now then, while this is still drying, and it probably is still drying, I'm going to now cut some patterned paper to go into these panels. So let's move everything out of the way and bring in my trimmer. Where's my trimmer gone? I know it's here somewhere. Just had it. Oh, where's that gone? Literally just had this a minute ago. Where's it gone? That is super odd. Okay. That is, oh, there it is, right in front of me. Of course it was. So, oh, I can't see for looking sometimes. Right, okay, so this is this was an A4 piece of paper, so I've cut off a piece at this end when I made the other one, but I'm going to use the same paper. So I'm just going to pop that in and cut that to 3 inches like that, and that still leaves me plenty of that paper left. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is cut it every 1 1/4 inch. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it down as I cut it. so that the paper lines up. So as you can see, that's from there. So it lines up in exactly the same way as I'm cutting it. So 1 1/4, so that bit matches up there. 1 1/4, and that piece matches there. Because what I want to do is I want to glue it on, but it's not so much of a, it doesn't matter quite so much on this paper. But if you've got something that's got a little bit more of a distinctive pattern on it, what you want to do is make it look handmade, not homemade, so that it just gives it that little bit more of a finish. So let me do the last one, and then an A4 gives you a little bit, a tiny little bit of scrap left over. So when I line this all up to go on here, it's going to go on so that those match all the way along, like that. Like I say, it doesn't matter quite so much on this, but if you had something that had maybe writing on it or something like that, it's going to be a little bit jarring. So if I turn that one round like that, well, it doesn't make a lot of difference because of where I've cut the pattern, but it might have made a big difference if the pattern was more continuous. So bear that in mind if your paper is has a particular or a directional pattern on it. So I've laid them down on there now, so I'm just going to glue them on. Just a little bit of glue, they don't need a ton. Now what I'm doing is, now this doesn't go all the way down to here, and you'll see why when I start to put the mug together. But when we glue this patterned piece on, we want to put it to the top, to where that crease is. Don't go all the way down to here, because what will happen is you'll have bits that hang over like that, and that's not what we're after. And it will also give you that big space at the top. This will all be tucked under on our mug when we come to do it. So we're going to curl that under, because this is the top of our mug. This is going to be the base. But we do all the prep first, just makes it easier. Just found it makes it that little bit easier to do it this way round. Like I say, I've been doing these mugs for a few years now. Haven't done them for a while. Certainly not since COVID. But I think these are great, especially for, well, for men or women. But a mug, you know, is a bit more masculine, I think, perhaps. So yeah, and it's a great way of gifting some favourite sweets, or you know, a smaller gift. Right, let's line these last two up. Nearly done. Yeah, and it's a great way of doing a little treat holder. I haven't done the mugs for a long time either, so if anyone wants me to do a mug, let me know. Although I do have something I'm thinking of ordering that I think might help me with making, not mugs, cups, small cups, you know, the fancy cups and saucers. Okay. Right. So that then goes on the last one there. Okay, so we're not putting any on here because this is the tag, this is what's going to hold it. So the next thing we want to do is to cut up there. So grab your scissors, and I do it this way. So what we want to do is we want to cut away we want to cut away the score line. So I just find it easier to just fold it in half and just cut up the score line like that. So I'll fold it again. Also helps because by now hopefully this is nearly dry, so I can fold it and crease it at the same time and get that double thickness on that crease reinforced. So we're doing that. Fold that, reinforce that, and then cut up. There, you're not taking away a lot. That is all I've taken, and that is doubled. So if I open it out, that's doubled over. So it's only a very thin bit that we are taking away from those score lines. So just be careful you don't go too high with your scissors, because you don't want to snip into the top part. Ask me how I know. Right, there we go. So that just removes all those lower score marks so that we've got that now. Last thing before we start gluing, and hopefully this means that our papers have also glued down. It's nice and warm today, so hopefully that glue has stuck, is we want to just curl. So there's our score mark. We just want to curl this bottom piece from the top of there, that punch mark, to there. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It just helps later on when we're putting it all together. Just a very simple, and I'm using my bone folder, but you know, you could just bend it with your fingers if you find that easier, like that. Just because we want to break the fibres up a little bit at the back of this paper and get a little bit of a curl on, so that when we put the mug together it just curls much easier. So there we go. So that now is our mug ready to be put together. So what I'm going to do, and what I forgot to do, is leave this end ever so slightly open. I always forget that. So you want this end to be slightly open, because we're going to tuck this bit into there, like that. Like that. That's going to tuck in there. So what I do is, so this is the outside of our mug, the tag bit, and I'm going to put glue all the way on there. Oh, it's not coming out very well at the minute. Hold on. Let's see if I can poke this through, see what's obstructing it. Hopefully that'll help. So yeah, there we go, that's better. So put some glue on that there all the way along, and I do use the side of my applicator nib just to spread it about a little bit on these projects. Then on the back you want to put some glue, but only so you can see here that piece that we folded over. You only want to go level with that piece, so don't go above the line. In fact, I don't go to the top of the line. I kind of bring a bit, because I don't want it oozing out. And that means that when we pop it behind there, it will grab both sides of my card. So bring it over, pop it back in between, so you're popping it in there like that. Line up the edge of your card with that score mark. Might need to push it up a little bit like I just had to, and then using your fingers push inside the mug, push it together and along the front. It will fold flat if you want to get your bone folder on, because it's six-sided, so it will fold flat. Okay, and I'm just going to pop that peg wherever I've put it. That should be dry now, so I'm just going to pop that peg just at the top to hold it. I'm not going to bother with the bottom, because now we're going to be working on the bottom. I'm going to fold these back so that you can see. So on the score line, I'm just folding them back so that they're out of the way while I work on them, like that. Okay, and what you want to do is get this as circular as you can, and take the peg off so that I can lay it down. Hopefully the peg has done enough to hold everything in place. And what you want to do is you want to go to the two that are opposite each other. Try and make sure that's as circular as you can. If you've got something that's round that will fit in there and hold it, even better. But if you haven't, don't worry. Fold in one of your sides like that. Then go to the one opposite, and that one now is going to glue on top of there. So pop a little bit of glue on the one that you've folded in, like that. And then the one that's coming over, which is directly opposite it, put a little bit of glue on there as well. Then bring those two together and line up those two sides. So those two edges, you want them to line up nice and straight, like that. And that's as simple as it is putting this together. Turn it over, and I have got a flat bottomed bottle, which I then use to sort of push that all together like that. And that then forms a nice seal there. Go to your next two, and it doesn't matter which two these are, and do exactly the same. Only this time put a little bob of glue on the middle, bring that piece in, and again put some glue at the end of that one and the end of this one. Bring that one in, line those two up, and you're not pulling it, you're not pushing it too much together, because these, you want it to be fairly loose, and that's why we curved in those bits. You remember when we got our bone folder or our fingers and curve those bits in, because they now have got a natural curve to them. So again, I'm just going to turn it over and use my bottle to flatten those two pieces against each other, so that the glue is pushed into each other. If it slides slightly like that one has, then just pinch them together again. But if it seems fine, don't worry about it. Again, little bob of glue on there. Bring that one over like that, and put a little bit of glue on both ends, because this piece will glue here and this piece will glue here. So bring that over, line it up, and again, once it's grabbed for the first time, turn it over and use your bone folder, or in my case I'm using this water bottle. It's a spray bottle actually. It used to be a sleep therapy one from Avon, but once it emptied, I thought, well, that sprays really well, so that's good for my water. So that's that all done. And then do you remember that circle that we cut out from the centre of the what will be the mug handle? That now goes at the bottom there, and that covers all of that working up. So a little bob of glue all the way around. And that then is going to hide all of that messy at the bottom. So that's a 2-inch circle. So if you've gone for a different size mug handle, then pop that over. Then you'll need something like a 1.5 to 2 inch circle. So push that down with whatever you've got to hand. Turn it back over and just push that back in. And there we have the body of our mug. Then take your handle, so that piece that we cut from the 2 circles. You've got that flat bit, which is where we did our score lines. So a little bit of glue on both of them. And then I always try and find where the join is. So let's see where we can find. Oh, the join's a bit better than I thought it was going to be. Hold on one sec. Let's find that join. Oh, there's definitely a join here, isn't there? Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Let's go on the inside. Where's that gone? That is peculiar, isn't it? So that's definitely not. Oh, is that it? Is that the join? No. No, neither's that. Ah, there's the join. Knew it was here somewhere. So I always go next to the join somewhere. So if I think my mug is going to sit like that, I'm going to pop the mug handle there. And all I do for this is line it up like that. And you can use, let me see what I've got that I can use. So that's not very good, is it? Aha, that one might be better. I'm just going to hold that, push that glue into that paper, and the same the other end, like that. Pop that there to dry. And I just leave it standing like that. You can peg it or you can put something on it if you want to, but I don't see the point because, you know, gravity will do that for me. And there is my mug ready for some tissue and some Ferrero Rocher. I'm just going to leave it there to carry on drying and bring back in the one that I've done for my dad. So Ferrero Rocher around the front, there's some in the middle. There's the handle that I mentioned earlier. There. So yeah, so I think it's a really cute little project. I'm really pleased how it's worked out, especially once I've got it all bagged up and ready to go. So yeah, so I'll see you in the next video. You take care. Bye for now.